Today on Carolina Week, while students look forward to nights out on Franklin Street, many are concerned about the continued threat of violence downtown.
President Biden canceled student loans for millions. How this is affecting students here in Chapel Hill.
And as monkeypox spreads across the country, we'll tell you what you need to know about the disease and its vaccine.
All this and more next on Carolina Week.
From the UNC Hussman School of Journalism and Media, connecting Carolina's campus and community, this is Carolina Week.
Welcome to our first ever Carolina Week show in the Curtis Media Center. I'm Kelly Kendall.
And I'm Stephen Schlink.
UNC Chapel Hill has consistently ranked 5th among public universities in U.S. News and World Report's annual university ranking. This year is no exception. The university landed that spot for the 22nd year in a row in the latest U.S. News and World Report. The publication states this year's rankings were largely determined by graduation and retention rates, academic reputation, and financial resources. UNC also ranks first for best value among public universities for the 18th year in a row and 29th overall.
They don't call us a public Ivy for nothing. With over 900 clubs and organizations here at Carolina, there's no shortage of ways to make your heel print. And now there are even more ways to get involved. UNC welcomed 9 new clubs to campus this semester. These include Women in Computer Science, Student Made UNC, and the Applied Physical Sciences Graduate Student Association, just to name a few. To learn more about these clubs, head on over to heallife.unc.edu.
Chapel Hill's newest bookstore and coffee shop, Prologue, is welcoming customers to its newest storefront on Franklin Street. Prologue Used and Rare Books caters to a more frugal clientele by selling used books bought back from the community. On the shelves, you'll also find books from the late author UNC alum Randall Keenan's own collection. Epilogue and Prologue are part of a wider trend happening across the country, a resurge in bookstores. According to the New York Times, more than 300 independent booksellers have opened in the past couple of years. You can find Prologue Used and Rare Books adjacent to Epilogue. It's open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Friday and shorter hours on the weekends.
It's been 2 weeks since President Joe Biden canceled up to $20,000 in student loans for millions of Americans. Reporter Mackenzie O'Donnell spoke to some students on campus about the administration's promise.
Federal student loan forgiveness is still a hot topic, not only across the country, but right here in Chapel Hill. Maya Slate is a freshman pre-med student at UNC. She says this program will make higher education attainable for more people.
I think it's a good policy. I think it'll help a lot of people and make college more accessible to them.
Paula Williams, a non-traditional student studying English and Communications, agrees.
As you can tell, I am an older student, so my life is a little different than others. I do have a scholarship for school, but I have a ton of living expenses as a person who's adulting in the real world, and so I've had to take out loans to help take care of those, and those are going to be hard to pay off it.
Others say they'll need to see the president's loan forgiveness plan in full effect before believing it'll do more harm than good to the economy, and that the move is politically motivated.
I don't think it's a good thing for society because other taxpayers shouldn't have to pay for my education. Each person should be responsible for their own money.
I think it's a political tool by the Biden administration to motivate younger voters to turn out in the midterms.
At UNC, over 1/3 of students graduate with debt, according to the Institute for College Access and Success. The group also says that by the time a student graduates, their average debt is over $20,000. So who will qualify for relief? Pell Grant recipients are eligible for $20,000 in loan forgiveness. Anyone who hasn't received a Pell Grant may get up to $10,000 forgiven based on their income. For those already on an income-based repayment plan, loan forgiveness could automatically go into effect. Anyone unsure of their eligibility can sign up for the U.S. Department of Education email list at www.ed.gov/subscriptions. In Chapel Hill, I'm Mackenzie O'Donnell, Carolina Week.
Chapel Hill partiers may soon be forced to turn down the dial on their speakers or even reconsider having a party at all. Members of the Chapel Hill Town Council are presenting a proposal for a new noise ordinance at tonight's council meeting. The social host ordinance, as they're calling it, includes tougher rules on loud and unruly social gatherings, among other things. The highlight of the petition is the penalty for anyone caught in such gatherings. First strike, a $750 fine. The fine goes up to $1,000 on the second offense, and any repeat offenders after that second strike could face a fine of up to $1,250. Chapel Hill Mayor Pam Heminger is in favor of the tougher penalties. She states the existing noise ordinance became ineffective, with big party hosts like fraternities cashing out when fined. The town is encouraging residents to attend the meeting this evening if they have any questions about the ordinance.
Starting this semester, the person sitting beside you in class could be the same person driving you around town, and it's all because of a bus driver shortage. Chapel Hill Transit has a new bus driver position specifically designed for UNC students. Town transit officials designed this new program to combat the shortage. Students who apply will train to learn the town's bus routes and even get a chance to earn a commercial driver's license. A number of bus routes in the area were temporarily suspended at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. Chapel Hill Transit says 80% of bus services have been restored to their pre-pandemic status. Students interested in driving can find more information at chtransit.org.
After weeks of delays, live bus tracking is still not online for most Chapel Hill bus routes. Students and university employees who ride the bus rely on apps like NextBus and Translock to track them in real time. Without live tracking, many find it difficult to know if a bus is running behind. Buses use a cellular device called a modem, and most Chapel Hill Transit buses have 3G modems. But with 4G and 5G on the rise, those 3G modems are now obsolete. According to Chapel Hill Transit, supply chain issues have caused delays in getting new 4G modems on buses. The Transit Authority expects live bus tracking to be back online sometime this month.
Coming up, you're running out of time to register to vote. We'll tell you how and when to get it done after this.
Worried about your friend but don't know how to reach out?
You could say how are you or get a fake tattoo. You could ask with an app if it works for you. You could chat with them in VR. It's all good if you think you should check in. Yeah, you should. Whatever gets you talking.
Reach out to a friend about their mental health.
Whatever gets you talking.
Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
Welcome back to Carolina Week. Carolina students are back on campus and socializing, and that means alcohol law enforcement is out on the prowl. A picture of 20-year-old UNC junior Alexander Sumner made rounds on social media as he was pinned to the ground by 2 ALE agents last month. Witnesses on the scene said Sumner kept saying he did not know why he was being arrested by them. Many of his fellow students criticized the amount of force the officers used, and in a statement emailed to Carolina Week, ALE said, in part, quote, "This use of force, as with all uses of force, will be documented and reviewed by both supervision and a use of force review board," end quote. Sumner was charged with resisting law enforcement officers, possession of a fraudulent ID, purchase of alcoholic beverages with a fraudulent ID, and underage possession of malt beverages. The following day, Sumner spoke about the incident at an event hosted by the Black Student Movement. He declined Carolina Week's request for an interview while his case is ongoing. Sumner is due back on court on October 20th.
Since students returned to campus, there's been an increase in violent threats on Franklin Street. I spoke with one business owner who's trying to help. When people think of Franklin Street, thoughts of huge crowds after UNC wins against Duke and awesome eats run through their minds. But lately, it's known for something less enticing.
I've seen people running from other people on the street before, male or female.
Logan Hull is the manager of the Hemp Store on Franklin Street, and he has seen his share of violence recently.
We had to call the police to get this guy removed. Police came, removed him, and they just let him back out on the streets. And of course, 5 minutes later, he comes banging on our window. Been trespassed at this point, so he's not going to come back inside. Banging on our window saying, "I'm going to come back and kill you with a pistol."
Hull says it's getting worse.
I've had to call 911 almost every week for a good long while now.
And if you feel unsafe, Hull says he will help.
We'd be happy to, close down the store for a few minutes, even if it is just one person here, to go out and help and walk that particular person to their car.
Hull's job just got more interesting.
A few EMS people came in and they gave us 2 little kits that had Narcan in it, fentanyl test strips.
A disheartening sign.
That did not make me feel like the situation in Chapel Hill was getting any better. That made me feel like it was getting a lot worse.
We asked Chapel Hill Police for a response to the uptick in violence on Franklin. Police Chief Chris Blue emailed us in part, quote, recognizing that one or a handful of individuals exhibiting inappropriate behaviors can have a detrimental effect on sense of safety in our downtown. CHPD officers have increased foot patrols and therefore visibility in our downtown area, end quote. We will continue to follow this story.
Early Sunday evening, the Chapel Hill Police Department received a call that shots were fired off Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard early Sunday evening. The shooting happened near the intersection of Caldwell Street and Mitchell Lane. Law enforcement arrived at the scene later in the evening and suspect shots came from a white Lexus SUV. Carolina Week asked Chapel Hill Police for an update on the investigation, but we are still waiting for a response. Police encourage anyone with information about this incident to call 911 or the non-emergency Orange County Communications line at 919-732-5063.
Those eligible to vote in North Carolina have exactly 1 month left to register for the upcoming midterm election. Students who are eligible to vote can register locally with their campus address in their home county or home state to vote with an absentee ballot in November. Before October 14th, anyone can register online, in person at their local DMV, or by mail. The last chance to register will be during North Carolina's early voting period between October 20th and November 5th at one-stop polling sites where voters can register and vote at the same time. This year's midterm election falls on November 8th, and for more information, you can visit the North Carolina State Board of Elections website.
The United Kingdom remains in a period of national mourning following the death of Queen Elizabeth II last Thursday. Born in 1926, Queen Elizabeth II ruled for over 70 years, making her the longest reigning monarch in British history. We spoke to one UNC student studying abroad in London this semester about her experience witnessing this all unfold.
I'll always remember, just going up to Buckingham Palace and seeing all of those flowers and just all of those people there. We were in London, and so we could all just go and see what was happening for ourselves.
The Queen passed peacefully at Balmoral Castle, surrounded by her family. According to Buckingham Palace, her funeral is set for Monday. With each new school year comes a surge of illnesses like the flu and the common cold. But with one confirmed case in Orange County and several more in surrounding counties like Durham and Alamance, monkeypox is also on students' minds. I spoke with local health experts about the virus, and they shared everything students need to know about staying safe and healthy. Since last spring, cases of monkeypox have been on the rise in the United States. North Carolina alone has seen nearly 400 cases of the virus. But what exactly is monkeypox?
So this is an orthopox virus, and it is most closely related to vaccinia virus, which we use for smallpox protection and smallpox.
Like its cousins, chickenpox and smallpox, a telltale sign of monkeypox is a rash with pus-filled bumps on the skin. But according to Weber, that's not the first thing you may notice.
In mpox, you have headache, fever, chills. You can get swollen lymph glands. That usually occurs for 1 to 4 days before you develop symptoms.
Monkeypox can be spread in several ways, most commonly through direct skin-to-skin contact with someone who has the infection. But it can also be spread through respiratory droplets and by touching contaminated items such as clothing and bedding. If you come in contact with an individual with monkeypox or develop a rash, you can be tested by a local health provider, including Campus Health.
know your resources, get out there and get tested. And if you are symptomatic, try to reduce your footprint until you know that that test is negative. And then if somebody does call, it's like, just try to let them know, give them the information that's needed.
Monkeypox vaccines are also available at Campus Health in limited supply. You can get your shot if you fall into the CDC's eligibility guidelines. Though monkeypox is still rare in Orange County, if you do feel like you've been exposed, it's important to contact your healthcare provider.
UNC Campus Health and the UNC Student Store Pharmacy are offering the newly approved COVID-19 booster shot. The vaccine is available to all undergraduate and graduate students, along with faculty and staff. Both appointments and walk-ins are available Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. at no cost. Just be sure to allocate 45 minutes out of your day for an appointment. And once you have your vaccine, get your friends together and head outside because it's going to be a sunny week. Let's turn now to Carolina Week's meteorologist, Brian Foster, for this week's forecast. Brian?
All right, yes, great weather indeed. The sun has been out all day so far, and I think it's going to continue to be like that throughout the rest of today. Clear skies all afternoon. Going to be great weather to be out this evening. Calm and cool nights will be ahead of us as well. Tonight might actually be cool enough for a jacket, so be aware of that if you're going to be out late tonight. And it looks like this pleasant pattern is going to stick around through the rest of this week, all due to a high pressure system right now that's parked over the western part of the state. As long as this high pressure sticks around throughout the rest of this week, is what I'm expecting it to. It's going to really inhibit cloud growth and rain growth as well. So because of that, we're going to have some really nice sunny skies, Carolina blue skies looking down on you throughout the rest of this week. I want to show you for our temperature forecast as well for tomorrow. It's going to be feeling really great outside. Look at this at Raleigh, 83 degrees for a high tomorrow afternoon. Similar temperatures what we're going to have today as well. We're going to really have the same weather pattern throughout the rest of this week. Looking at our hour-by-hour forecast, when you're waking up in the morning, if you have an early morning jog planned, or maybe you got classes early in the morning, I'd hate to be you if that's the case. But anyway, you might need a light jacket if you're waking up that early. It's going to be 58 degrees around 7 o'clock in the morning. Quickly warming up to 80 degrees by noon, especially by 3 p.m. We'll be close to 82, 83 later on in the day, so you definitely won't need a jacket later on tomorrow. Taking a look at our hurricane forecast, not heard a lot about this. I've got two systems out in the Atlantic right now. This one doesn't look like going to be much of anything. However, the next 5 days, we could have a better shot of a tropical system forming that could move over the Caribbean islands. However, it's not going to affect our weather, at least not in the immediate term. Looking at our 5-day forecast, really warm today, 81 degrees for a high. Same conditions for tomorrow as well. 80s will continue throughout the weekend, just in time for our women's soccer game this Saturday. We'll be playing Virginia today here on campus as well. We might have some warmer temperatures coming in early next week. So guys, enjoy the weather. Kelly and Stephen, how are you guys going to enjoy the weather this week?
Well, Brian, it sounds like we have a lovely week ahead of us. I think I'm going to have a picnic out on the Arboretum. What about you, Stephen?
That sounds great. I think I'm going to have to take a walk around campus and see some of the sites I've not seen yet.
Stick with us here on Carolina Week for a quick recap of Carolina athletics. We'll be right back.
I'm a first-generation Filipino American. You don't always feel you're a part of the country you live in. It's this weird middle space sometimes that you have to live inside of. But when you meet others that are also living in that space, you'll learn to know that it's its own unique space too.
Welcome back to Carolina Week. We're a little over a month into the school year and the sports season, but the Tar Heels are already tearing it up. And Sports Extra's Joshua Dolgoff tells us which players are already raising the bar.
Yes, Stephen, a handful of individual accolades to mention today, but let's get started at Dorrance Field with men's soccer. The Tar Heels took on East Tennessee State Tuesday night, looking to reset their record following consecutive losses to Pitt and FIU in the weeks prior. The Heels kicked off the evening with a scoreless first half, but the second half started out on a high note after a goal from Sam Williams in the 52nd minute. Williams' goal came off a pass by junior forward Key White, which Williams dribbled and fired into the goal with his left foot from the top of the 18. The action did not stop there, as a bicycle kick goal from Ahmad Al-Kwak was called offsides in the remaining minutes of the half. Confirming the 1-0 victory for the Heels, the defense was able to hold East Tennessee State with key stops by freshman goalie Andrew Cordes. After the game, the momentum immediately shifted as captain defensive midfielder Tim Shales urged the team to alter their attention for the pending Duke matchup this Friday at 7 p.m. in Durham. With the graduation of former star goalie Claudia Dickey, the women's soccer team has a large gap to fill in the roster. The question on everyone's mind, including head coach Anson Dorrance, is who will be the new starting netminder. Here's reporter Kyle Lobenhofer with the story.
In her 4 years at UNC, Dickey played in 80 games and allowed only 34 goals, boasting an average save percentage above 800. She was the first goaltender drafted in the National Women's Soccer League college draft this offseason and is a major missing piece heading into the 2022 season for Carolina.
So we lost a great goalkeeper in Claudia Dickey, but the two kids that we have right now that are playing, and also the kid that's trying to chase these two to get on the field, all three of the goalkeepers we have right now are very good goalkeepers.
At season start for UNC, Coach Dorrance hadn't made any final decisions about who the permanent goalie would be. In the season opener against Tennessee, redshirt freshman Emmy Allen played the first half, and senior Mars Josephson played the second. Both tallied 4 saves each and combined for a shutout of the 11th-ranked Volunteers.
I mean, there's high expectations for us, but we're all in it together. We have a really good group where we're all supporting each other, really good goalkeeper culture.
Dorrance continued this pattern of 1 goalie per half against UNC Wilmington, Baylor, Texas, and UCLA, a tactic he utilized for his last goalie battle between Claudia Dickey and Mars Josephson.
And so I really feel like we're getting some great mileage out of our goalkeepers, even though they don't have that much experience. But lest we forget, Mars does have experience. She split with Claudia Dickey.
In the matches against Missouri, Duke, and UCF, Emmy Allen played the full 90 minutes. Coach Dorrance hasn't made public whether this means Allen is the official starting goaltender, nor when the final decision will be made, leaving Tar Heel fans to watch and wonder heading into conference play in a season with the potential for a run at the team's first national title in a decade. I'm Kyle Lobenhofer, reporting.
Some schools are lucky to have one outstanding goalkeeper. UNC soccer program has double that, though. Turning from the pitch to the links, the UNC women's golf team wrapped up the first tournament of the season yesterday in South Carolina. Senior Krista Yunkare led the team, shooting 2 under par and finishing 21st. Not far behind was freshman Vilda Nystrom, finishing 10 strokes behind Yunkare. The woman will compete again at the Memorial Invitational in Texas next week. With lofty expectations ahead, the men's basketball team has released their schedule for ACC play. With a tough non-conference slate, the Heels will keep playing high-level competition in the ACC. The Heels will face 4 2022 NCAA tournament participants: Duke, Notre Dame, Miami, and Virginia Tech. Women's soccer midfielder Sam Meza continues to bring home the individual hardware, this time being named ACC Defensive Player of the Week. Meza played a total of 132 minutes in 2 games and contributed 1 assist in a win against Duke. Meza also played a crucial role in Sunday's game against UCF as she came off the bench with the Heels down a goal and helped turn the tide to deliver another Carolina victory. After their win, Coach Anson Dorrance delivered high praise to Meza. The Heels are 7-1 and will be back out on Saturday to face number 5 Virginia. Senior punter Ben Kiernan is the Ray Guy Punter of the Week for his career day against Georgia State. Kiernan averaged a career-best 54.2 yards on 5 punts. 2 of the punts were the longest in his career, going 70 and 64 yards, with both landing inside the Panthers' 20-yard line. The Heels have a bye week before facing Notre Dame at Kenan Stadium. And first-year volleyball standout Maddie May continues to shine, being named the ACC Freshman of the Week. May is no stranger to accolades. In 2021, she was the Big East Conference Player of the Year and the 3A State Championship MVP. This season, she already has an impressive 85 digs in 28 sets. May hit her season high just last week with 19 digs versus Michigan. Gotta love these athletes making a name for themselves. Tune in to Sports Extra on Friday for a deep dive into a weekend full of Carolina athletics. We'll be right back after a break.
Every day, thousands of kids start vaping. And I can't let this happen to my kid. Of course, it's awkward to talk to your kids about the dangers of vaping. Hey, bestie, how's sketches, baby? It's hard to get their attention. Ready? Go. Yes. Look at that. You even turn yours over. So if you want to talk to your kids about the dangers of vaping, you got to get it trending.
No, you're doing it wrong.
Let's go.
Can we talk?
Yeah, what's up?
Visit talkaboutvaping.org for tips on when and how to have the vape talk.
Stephen, love is in the air here at UNC.
I know, Kelly, that's right. And this semester, campus will be home to a new dating web series. Head Over Heels is UNC Student Television's newest dating show, and production is already underway. In the age of ABC's popular Bachelor franchise and Hulu's Love Island, this show is the first of its kind for UNC Chapel Hill, with many hopefuls trying to fill the 10 available spots. And while many restaurants come and go on Franklin, one restaurant continues to stand the test of time with a milestone anniversary.
Carolina Coffee Shop turns 100 years old. Reporter Kyle Ennis visited the Franklin Stream Gem for this first edition of Hometown Heels.
Starting the day with a cup of coffee? Need a quick bite? Many visit Carolina Coffee Shop. But why?
It's the oldest restaurant in Carolina, so I had to check it out. Good experience, nice people.
100 years old. Carolina Coffee Shop opened in 1922, and some have visited for decades.
Tradition. Yeah, we've been eating here for close to 50 years, I guess.
For newcomers, the first thing that grabs them is the food.
I really enjoyed it, so the close proximity, I keep coming back, and I've not been disappointed by a single menu item yet.
For others, it's the atmosphere.
The noise, there's the students with the laptops, there's families, so it's really, to me, generationally, there's a depth of generational knowledge and legacy here.
The place might even inspire years ahead of its time.
I was asking her if she wants to be a Tar Heel, and she screamed, so maybe.
In Chapel Hill, I'm Kyle Ennis, Carolina Week.
Chicken waffles for the next 100 years.
Oh, that sounds amazing. I've actually not tried that place yet, but it's definitely going to be on my to-do list now that I know it's been here forever.
You gotta get them. Well, that does it for this semester's first edition of Carolina Week. We'll see you right back here next time.